pitiful.
Here I am, with my fingers to the bone all day, and there you are, with your mick inside.
No, you can't have the mick inside of you.
No.
Just beat the piss inside. No.
No.
I'll get it right one of these days.
He was going to touch you on the Kiss early days. I mean, how did you two guys meet and get together and start this thing all going?
I heard a noise downstairs in my basement, and I found him trying to rob me. And then I said, look, you. And he said, wait a minute. Say that again. I said, look, you.
All of like that. It sounds like a tune.
And I went, hey. He goes, hey, 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 hey. And then
We got together. Then he said, you got to leave. And I said, well, don't want to wait till you know. Don't want to wait till you know me better.
And that's how it all started.
And so that was it.
started, yes,
Yeah,
started.
Started.
Well then, started.
again.
Yeah, we started again with the windmills.
Yeah, we're going to take a break and we're going to come back
Yeah, we're going
with...
to take a break and we're going to come back with
Lick it
Don't
up.
want to wait till you know me better. Lick it up.
Hi, this is Gene Simmons.
And I'm Paul Stanley.
And you're watching the best video show right here.
It's MTV's Metal Hammer, isn't that what it is? You
That's
knew
right.
that. You're watching it.
And these are the Bailey brothers, and we're the Kiss brothers. And we're
We're
We're the new band, right?
The Four Brothers.
Yeah. Gene,
right.
how you doing?
Right.
It's all right, mate.
Yeah, all right, mate.
Right.
Tell us how you decided to get the makeup on there, mate.
We decided to put the makeup on to hide the intense and magnificent beauty that shines before your very self here. And the makeup was just really a chance to get laid more often, and in a manner to which we've become accustomed to.
Yeah.
And if I can understand half the things I've just said, we'd all be in better shape. We decided to put the makeup on actually to take this band where no band had gone before.
Did you decide?
Here I am, with my fingers all day.
Gene,
Yes, I never touched her.
did you get round the table and say, right, you do the star, I'll do the...
No.
You do the star, you wear
do
the bra.
Before you get too far.
You do the thinking, we'll make lots of money. We'll make lots of money.
No, we, it
What are
happened.
those guys called?
Pet Shop.
Pet Shop Boys.
Yeah.
Pet shop boy.
We're the Kiss Shop boys.
Yeah.
Kiss shop boy.
We decided early on to just have fun. Actually, it happened very naturally, not far from here. In fact, right outside this window. We one night nobody was looking, and we were called a different name. We were called Wicked Lester then, and that night there was nobody in the audience. Nobody could care less about us, and we decided just to have some fun and put some makeup on.
He took off his dress.
I did.
But how did you go on going out at night for a drink or going out to the clubs? I mean...
Was it, like, say when you started with the makeup, you started the first shows, did the kids in the audience know who you was personally, or was
Yeah,
it
Gene
total
Paul.
secret?
No, it's...
No, they were strangers. They had
Yeah,
no
I
idea.
mean-
They thought we crawled out from under the
We would do
beds or
shows
something.
with, all the bands that were like, there was like a whole big scene in New York at that time between the Dolls, there was Wayne County, Kiss, there was a bunch of people, and we would play in lofts that actually were factories during the day. And when Kiss first came out, I mean, we would walk into these places and we'd have the makeup, and everybody would look at us. But by the time we played Strutter and Deuce, all of a sudden everybody was going, it's better than those other guys.
The scene at the time was populated by a lot of groups with big bills for hairstyles. They went to the stuff and never really learned to play their instruments.
They spent a lot of time learning how to put on mascara, but no time learning how to tune their guitars.
yeah.
Okay, we'll get back to your very first show you did in New York. We'll get straight back to that because we've got to go into another video, mate.
Well, I think we'll have... what's next video, Franny?
Reason to live.
Yeah, shall we listen to that?
That's a good idea, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Good ballad.
Reason
this,
It's a
I
bit
think.
of all right.
Good ballad.
Right.
Listen to the no, what's that accent? That's a different.
That's an
Liverpool.
American
That's
trying to be
right.
British. That's
Yeah.
all.
That's Liverpool accent. you're trying to do.
Yeah, well, you talk like that.
Yeah.
If you block up your nasal
I've got
passages, it's go ahead,
I've got to blow my nose. And, yeah,
Oh, you
right.
watch Brookside?
You guys.
Brookside, right.
Brookside, right.
Well, let's talk about one of the things that
Yeah.
makes us kiss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's not. This is George Howard.
Yes.
Okay, the
This
very
guy.
first time we saw you guys, and
Oh, I
Gene
can
pulled me
remember
up on this last year, right? I think I'm right. is 1976,
Manchester.
May 13th.
Manchester Free Trade Hall.
It was a
Yeah.
Friday night. We were sat in the balcony, the very first time we'd seen you guys in the UK. We were sat up there and he came and I think he did jumps and strutter to start off with. And the flames went up in the air and nearly took the eyebrows off.
That's our job. We have to do that.
I mean, that was really, even in them early days around the, what's Destroyer out at that time?
Destroyer wasn't out yet.
Yeah.
No, it was about to come out.
Yeah.
You had a great response from the English audience
Yeah.
and a great show.
Well, we've always felt great about the English audiences, and I mean, we were thrilled to have, Crazy Nights be a top 5 song, which we felt really great about. And last year when we went to Donington, that was really the first time we'd been there, and we got a chance to check it out. We said, this is, actually it reminded me a lot of like Bingley.
Bingley Hall, we saw there.
Where you
He
guys
was flying around there. from
Yeah,
one side
I
of the
remember
speakers
that.
to the other.
Well, that was a couple of years later, though. That was 1980, right?
Yeah.
No.
We were talking about that at the time.
Well, when I flew
Any
around.
advances? Any advances?
Yeah,
79?
1980,
When was this?
1979.
I'm glad
that you just
Yes,
skipped
you was
from-
writing to Kiss and see when it was. You was
I'm glad that you really skipped. Thanks, Paul, for skipping from the Destroyer Times and that right up to Crazy
That's
Nights.
right, right up to
And
Crazy
Monsters of Rock, leaving me loads of things to
Great
go up now.
segue. Now let's talk about the Monsters of Rock.
Yeah, but I mean, around that time, like the Destroyer album. I love the effect you got on there. I think it was, just checking it out. Detroit Rock City, was it?
Right, but on
the car keys and...
Right,
and
but on
the-
Crazy Nights,
with the car keys when they started off in the car and then the gear stick and then you're cruising and then the great idea of the radio comes on.
Yeah.
Oh,
Playing, you got rock and roll,
and it's playing
rock
Crazy
and
Nights.
roll,
Yeah.
roll.
And
wasn't it playing Crazy Nights?
the even cooler thing
Is
is
the car
to
crash.
have a new group like Poison playing their version of rock and roll and going into their new video.
Which we won't show you now. You know what? You know why? Because it is a Kiss program.
It's a Kiss.
Let's talk about now a new video. Not a new video, a great video.
Yes.
Kiss Exposed. Paul,
Yes.
Okay, then
let's have a
before we
lot
go
of
on to
fun.
that, Kiss Exposed, I just want to ask you guys something.
Yes.
You know the girl, Christine?
Yes.
Have you got
Oh,
her
yes.
phone number anywhere?
Yeah. Bill was involved with us from when we were playing the Diplomat, which was a hotel that was mainly frequented by people who like to rent by the hour. And they had a ballroom downstairs, and we used to throw dances there because nobody would hire us. So we would throw these dances on Friday nights, and Bill was one of the people who came down to see us. This was like
He also danced?
1972 or 73. And we looked over and we said, "Hey there, sailor.
Do you want to dance?
Want to dance?" And Bill wound up, oh, there goes the...
What is the windmill again?
The windmill.
The windmill's going, oh, cheers, right.
Just for that, I'm not going to tell you the end of the story. You got to come.
Yeah,
to
you
the-
got to come right back.
That's right. Gotta come
Right,
back.
like 2 videos, all hell's breaking loose. It's a good video.
And all night.
Yeah?
First, all hell's breaking loose.
Street hustler walks up to me one day, and I'm walking down the street minding my own
On business, I said,
He's
hey
like,
man,
what be this and what be that? And why
are
you
you
gotta
going to look like that?
So what happened to Bill?
Oh, yeah. So Bill was with us for quite a while, and Bill left around Creatures of the Night. And actually, we saw him a couple of nights ago.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's
Matter of
fine.
fact, he's fine. He's looking well. He sends his best, and he says, "Come see us at the Monsters of Rock."
And come see, come sa. You know, he's...
That's right.
Let's talk about it.
What can I say?
Yeah.
Let's talk about Monsters of Rock.
Yeah, let's talk about Monsters of Rock.
You in Europe are going to witness these guys at the Monsters of Rock, and I've got some good news for you too.
Yeah, yeah.
There's going to be roughly over 100,000
Is that right?
In the
That's right,
UK.
in the UK.
That's right.
That is,
That's a good turnout.
Yeah, yeah.
looking forward to that, Paul?
I know
Yeah,
that.
absolutely. You know, there's nothing I'd rather do than play for an intimate gathering of friends, especially them the size of the country. It sounds wonderful, you know? I mean, that's 100,000 people can make a lot of noise. And if there's any way we can help and make it a little louder, we're going to do it.
Well, you stepped on the stage last year, Paul, and did you enjoy the
Oh, it's
70,000
wonderful.
punch that?
Yeah, it's spectacular, you know, because there's a certain chemistry and a certain vibe with the audiences in England that's unlike any other place. And you know, it's always been very special for us because a lot of our heroes initially came from England. So we figure we'll go back and do what we can.
And meet
It's real
us, and
special.
meet us.
And me
Yeah.
too. Yeah.
And apologize for becoming independent. We should have stayed. I mean, we're colonials. What can I say? We should have stayed part of the kingdom.
Yeah.
Is it too late? Will you have us back?
We'll have
See,
you back in the
one word with
Europe.
Maggie.
We'll have a word with Maggie.
Hey Gene, I've got a great joke. This guy walks into the doctor's, right, with a frog in his head.
I can't believe you know all this stuff.
Yeah,
What?
see?
Unbelievable.
I'm not finished the joke. I'm not finished the joke. But
You studied
listen, on that video, see, I've been checking you guys out.
Astounding.
Have you really saved all your stage gear and everything like that?
It's phenomenal. We have literally we have a warehouse full of all our costumes, all our boots, guitars. We have 2 whole stages, including the Creatures of the Night stage with the tank. All that's in storage. So we literally have we have history.
And all over
in a building.
And all over America, in various places, there are pieces of us. For instance, in the Hollywood Wax Museum, there are 4 complete outfits from about '77 in that area. And then, is there a Queen Elizabeth Museum in London?
No. Somebody stole our costume.
Somebody told us there's a museum in London that sells our other stuff.
We sent our clothes. Boy, were we stupid.
I told you it would, Mick. I told you that was a good idea. Well done.
That's right.
I'll let you have them back, Paul.
And what we want to do in return is sell you a bridge that we have here.
I'll tell you what, guys.
Right.
People in Europe are wondering if you'll be generous enough to give compact discs, videos, T-shirts, a competition.
Good idea.
Yeah?
Sounds great.
I think it's
Can we
a
do
good
that?
idea.
Can we
Yeah.
think of a question for the viewers? A simple question. Anything.
How long is it? I mean,
Since you put
since you've been gone, I'll apologize. Oh, sorry, wrong group. Which group? What question? How many girls have been from?
Guess.
What?
Guess.
Guess the question that we're not going to tell you.
So, what, name?
All right,
name
I have
yourself?
I have a question.
Yeah.
No. This is a good question.
When you say it, yeah.
I'm sorry, it's been a long day. And thick, too.
Not that I heard.
What is that?
What question?
Okay, the question is,
Name the Queen of England. No, that's not it.
why is
Oh, this is nobody, but nobody knows this answer. In that case, Gene, why are you going to ask the question? But how many people do you know? How many people do you know? How many people
How
do you
many
know?
people do you know? How many people do you still know?
100,000 at Donington.
How many people do you think know the answer to what song is Firehouse fashioned after?
Fire Brigade by The Move.
There you go.
Oh, cheers, Paul.
I think we're going to have to wait while I get back to the studio and do a question.
We're going to do a competition back in the studio if Paul can't think of one.
But was you really pleased about the way your album took off in the UK?
We were
And the singles,
we were really
especially,
thrilled. I mean, we've always wanted to have a legitimate big hit. And
You did?
hey, when Samantha Fox tells me that she knows who I am, I'm in good shape.
Yeah, I want to talk about you being in good shape. How's the exercise classes going? Still
Good.
doing good?
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
want to join that Paul Stanley club.
Absolutely.
Hey, I tell you what, we'll check out Ace Frehley on video, yeah? Good
Yeah,
idea,
yeah,
lads?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Compilation days.
Okay.
We're all Ace. We'll talk about Ace later on.
And that accompanied us on the 80 tour of Europe included Phil Collins. And what band was that? And
And it ain't Genesis.
it
so,
ain't Genesis, right?
Great
Phil Collins and what was that?
Phil Lewis.
Phil
Phil
Lewis.
Lewis.
Send them
Nine LA
to
Guns.
20 to 23 Mandela Street, London, NW1, OGU, England.
Well done, mate.
For the Kiss Con.
Speaking of Ace Frehley,
Yes.
we haven't spoke about Ace.
Oh, yes.
You two guys. These two guys went up on stage with Ace. So I don't
That,
think you're trying
that
to
happened.
get
That happened accidentally. Ace was
great.
playing the Limelight, which
Yeah, it
is
was
a club
fun.
in New York, and that's a Sennheiser 416 shotgun, isn't that right?
Right.
Anyway, make a long story short, Ace got up on stage and did a great set with his band, Frehley's Comet, and he asked
Very
us
good.
before the show to do an encore with him, and we said, no, this is really your, this is your time. You should have your own time to yourself. You know what I mean, mate? But he came off during one of the encores and literally dragged us on stage.
That's not true. He said, would we play? And we said no. And he said, why don't come on, please, let's play. And we went up.
Did you play
Was it
Juice?
Deuce?
With Juice?
Yes,
Yeah,
we did
Deuce.
too.
Oh.
Gene didn't play bass, but I played guitar and Gene sang. We really had a good
Yeah.
time. It was quite a bit of fun.
Yeah.
Nice one. And all the rumours are flying around again.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Kiss getting back together the original lineup.
Yeah, they'll be flying around.
But you know what's interesting about that is when you talk to some of the newer fans, the original lineup means nothing. It's like
That's right, yeah.
it just doesn't apply. I mean, when I used to think of the Stones when I was growing up, I was thinking Brian Jones and Keith Richards. That's the Stones.
It's a nice little angle. I think we'll get back to that. First, let's take a look at it.
We're not winding up again, are we?
Yeah, we're always winding
We've
up.
got to go again. Oh, this show's been so quick.
We'll have to have another Kiss
what about
special.
Crazy, Crazy Nights. Great video.
Yes, it is, isn't
And
it?
it did
Okay.
great. The single did marvellous. Crazy, crazy.
Thank you.
Top 4.
Nights, right here, right now.
Try to take
My soul away.
Crazy job.
You know, it's great, really, to give all the young ladies out there a chance to act in our videos. It's a very important public service.
Do you agree with that, Paul?
Yeah.
Oh.
You've done some great videos. You've done some great music. You've been a great service
Well,
to
that's
the
really
industry.
nice.
Yeah.
And that's why we
On a
decided
serious
to
point,
dedicate this show to you guys.
we haven't got much long
Very
left.
nice.
You've been great. I'd love to see you in the films. Hey,
Yeah.
there's a film called, program, is it Highwayman or something?
You've been in.
Oh,
Like-
Hitchhiker.
Hitchhiker, it's like
Yeah.
Twilight Zone.
Yeah.
And you played a part in that?
Yes, I played a cocaine king, one of these bad guys who...
And check out a video, Runaway, and
And we might as well say buy the Black and Blue album because Gene wants
Yeah.
to set up
Please,
some
buy
more.
Black and Blue. Great band. Great
Nice work on
band.
the production there.
That's
Sounds,
great.
sounds more like Kiss than Kiss, but.
And-
So anyway, we just want to say thanks.
Well,
It's
thanks.
been our show.
Fantastic.
It's been great.
Great show.
Thank you.
Great
Well,
show.
We'll see you all at Donington.
We'll see you there.
Donington.
Be there or be square.
Right, we've just got to say while we're here,
Oh,
getting
yeah.
the leather jackets.
This
Thanks
is-
to Louis Leathers.
Louis Leathers from London.
If you would
Great
like to
gear.
get some of these jackets, we've got a great competition going on right now. Okay, so check it out. It's a good competition. We'll leave you with Paul and Gene, the last word.
Yeah.
We'll see you at Donington, and we're gonna kick some serious butt.
That's right.
Yeah.
Use it or lose it.
Pleasure to welcome to the show today two people that I've never had on the show before. Please say hello nicely. To on my right, Mr. Ace Frehley, and on his right, Mr. John Regan.
Good evening.
How are you, boys?
Pleasure to be here. How are you?
Well, it's nice to see you at last. When was the last time you were both in London, then?
I was here in '86.
See that? He was here in '86. I was here in '82 with Kiss,
Right, right,
promoting Creatures of the Night.
right. But it's been a long time since you actually played over in the old town.
Yeah.
When did you play here?
He can't
You
remember.
know, I told you I had bronchitis, and
Well, you probably noticed that we're all a bit like this today. We're all a bit like this. Is this smoke? Is this studio? We've had enough, haven't we, boys? We're sick of this.
I'm tired of it.
Yeah, I'm tired of it.
Well, you hear my guitar smoke, so I have to deal with it in concert.
Of course.
So, I mean, now I have to deal with it on TV shows.
Well, I thought it might make you feel at home, you know.
Well, you know, yeah.
That is your guitar back there.
In fact, that is Ace's old guitar.
Yeah,
If
it's
it
in the
gets
back. See, no one knows
Okay.
that.
So we will get down to some serious stuff, I promise. So that track was from the first Frehley's Comet album, which came out nearly a year ago now, if I'm
About a
right.
year, and April 27th on Ace's
Actually,
birthday.
yeah, it was released on my birthday, and the record company didn't even know it. Talk about intelligence.
Is this Mega Force Records?
Well,
I know I
in
used to...
conjunction with Atlantic.
Oh, well, I was going to say, I was about to give Mega Force Records one of those, actually, but it's Atlantic, isn't it? So, one of those...
No, well, no, it's Megaforce and Atlantic.
What?
Combined.
Mega Force and Atlantic. Gosh. God, that hurt me as well. Now, listen, you're here in London. We should tell people what you're doing. You're going to be playing at the Hammersmith Odeon on Saturday night, aren't you?
We are?
Otherwise, me and
I'm
about...
going to dinner. I don't know about you.
I was going to go buy some Marmite.
Awesome.
What's Marmite, this guy?
Can't you get Marmite in Ace? In America, Ace?
Wait, now, first of all, I'm a vegetarian. I wouldn't even touch that stuff.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
See, there was a slight
This is it,
misunderstanding.
you
I'm
remember,
the
it was
Marmite
like that.
aficionado. He didn't know anything about it.
Really?
But he's getting credited now for the resurgence of Marmite in the United States. And it's
Now-
Who did that
really-
cartoon in Kerrang? That's what I want to know.
What, Pandora Peroxide?
Yeah.
That's a young man called Ray Zell. Now, listen, nobody at home knows what we're talking about. They're all saying, what are they talking about? Why are they talking about Marmite? Well, we're not going to tell you.
Hi, Kiss has a new album. Crazy Nights is their 21st record, and it'll be in record stores on September 14th.
Radio station said, hey man, they're filming a video, you gotta go check them out. Bang, the tickets went like that. That's our fans.
Love the band, especially Paul.
Yes.
The group begins a worldwide tour November 3rd.
The whole idea of the makeup was originally something that came from us kind of experimenting and being free enough to try something new. When that becomes a ball and chain, you have to move forward.
While some gimmicks have been abandoned, others remain. And the purpose of the band's showmanship is still the same.
All in all, it's gotta be an extension of who you really are inside, otherwise it winds up coming off fake, and people can sense that like that.
This is neither Shakespeare, this isn't Macbeth, This, I think, is musical McDonald's.
Going back to Asylum, now it's self-produced, you two produced it, as you did Animalised.
Right.
Why aren't you sort of tempted to use these big-name producers like
We are big-name
bands?
producers.
Apart from...
Well, you got to figure that it's kind of like management. We don't have management because anything at this point would be mismanagement. You know, nobody can understand what we're all about better than us. So to have some guy come in and basically try to interpret what we're doing means that they would dilute and distort what we're doing.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever we do, and we're just going to keep doing it. If people like it, they can go out and listen and buy it and whatever. Otherwise...
And you do it well.
That's what we've been told. That's what you told me before the show.
I did.
She said I did it well.
Now, keep the secrets quiet. Now, what about the makeup? Now, because you had makeup, and that's where you were known in the 70s. Very, very sort of colossal amount of makeup, really. I had to bring this up. And there were Kiss dolls, and there were Kiss comics, and all sorts. Why did you stop? I know you wanted to give it up a year before you did, but...
The truth is that we wanted to show everybody how pretty we were without it.
Yeah?
Yeah, our mothers were saying, you know, you're such good-looking boys. Why don't you show everybody, you know? So we decided it was time to, you know, you respect what you've done in the past, but you want to keep going forward. And I don't think anybody would want to feel that they have to wear the same clothes they wore 10 years ago.
Yeah.
You know, you retain who you are, but at the same time you want to be free to just keep going forward.
That's right. Have your fans changed since you've sort of left the makeup off?
The knickers or what?
They're younger. Are they younger or?
They're both. They're new fans or old fans. The older fans have gotten older, and the younger fans are just new fans.
I hear you get a lot more women on the road as well now.
Either that or the guys are throwing brassieres on stage. It's one or the other, but something's happening.
Are you sex symbols now?
I don't know. You know, I kind of see Kiss concerts are basically like window shopping. You know, the girls show up at the shows, and they look at the merchandise, and then they come back to the hotels and claim it. You know, it's kind of like Christmas every day when Kiss is in town.
It's either that or they've got to come back to the hotel and claim their underwear. There's a lot of it that flies up on the stage. Not from the guys.
I think you're sex symbols. All right, then. Well, what about your video? We're going to look it up in a moment. Do you enjoy doing videos?
We love it. Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, basically, it's a lot of fun. The whole idea in doing a video is just trying to give people another way of seeing us that's palatable, as you would say.
Palatable.
And, you know, something that gives them a chance to see us doing something other than what they normally see us doing. Look it up.
This is incidentally a very beautiful spaceship. I haven't seen one quite like this.
This is amazing. You know,
you've been around. Have you looked around? We've got bedrooms, we've got a kitchen.
You and I know about that, don't we?
Did you do your own makeup, you two?
I did his and he did mine.
Really?
Yeah.
No. So, like, if music sort of failed, it started getting a bit slack, you could always sort of be makeup artists or something.
Oh, yeah.
You think you could do me?
Yeah, I could do you anytime. It's just...
Yes, good. Okay. Perhaps you should stick to making records. Boys, thank you very much for coming to see me. It was wonky. Thank you for coming to see me, Paul Stanley, Gene Simmons.
Well, actually, parents say that you're dangerous to their kids, that it's, you know, heavy metal sadism and all that.
Yeah. I think that most people who have opinions about us, most parents who have opinions about us have never taken the time to come see us.
So you're not dangerous to kids, are you?
We never really paid attention to that. We paid attention to our instruments, and people will always say things, and that's up to them to figure out. Ultimately, people have to figure out for themselves what's dangerous and what's not. And we do what we do. We've been doing it for quite a while, 10 years or more, and we don't see any major difference except that we have a lot of children all through Europe.
Yeah, your audience is quite young.
Here in Sweden. In America, they're about 90 years old.
Oh, it's more varied.
It varies.
More varied.
It varies from country to country. It's real interesting because if we go to England, the audience is somewhere between, maybe 19, 18, you know, somewhere around that. And here it seems to be a bit younger, but basically our fans are just free-thinking people. You know, some countries you find that maybe people get indoctrinated into thinking a certain way, so our fans tend to be the people who say, no, I'm not going to do it their way, I'm going to do what I believe in.
And you're a free-thinking band.
I think we couldn't have succeeded if we weren't, because everybody was telling us that what we were doing was ridiculous and didn't stand a chance.
I kept telling him.
Yeah. Are you going to go on forever?
We'll go on until we don't want to, until it's not fun or until the audience doesn't want us to. I mean, we've always done this because we believed in it. And if there's any message that we've ever given to the fans, it's that you have to do what you believe in. If you're not hurting somebody else, then you should be out doing what you think is right, because that's how you succeed.
I have to ask you before this interview, so when I heard that you got the longest tongue in the world, do you?
It may not be the longest, but it's long enough to make you my very close friend.
Can I see it? It's not hard to sing with all that in your mouth.
Sometimes it gets in the way.
Canada's been very good to you.
It always has. It's always been wonderful. You know, I'm always amazed to find out that there are people with bad taste in Canada who insist on buying our records year in and year out. And that's why we keep putting them out, because we're counting on you.
You remember that first tour? It must have been a doozy.
Oh, it was incredible. There's more that we can't talk about than we can, but it certainly was an education, and Canada was an intrinsic part of that education.
Was it cold?
Only until it heated up.
Yeah.
And then when it heated up, it got very hot.
Were you surprised? I mean, you didn't know anything about us when you came up here, did you?
Well, not anything really.
Hockey?
You know, basically that there was hockey and that there was snow. And then we came up here and saw what you do when you're not playing hockey or running in the snow.
How good was the band then? As a rock and roll band, how good?
How good were we? We cared a lot. You know, I think we certainly felt what we were doing, and that's a good place to start. You know, I mean, we were basically a bunch of guys out of the street with a bunch of guitars who were singing about New York City and about things that were just important to us. So how good were we? I doubt that we would win any awards for our musical proficiency, but we certainly had a tremendous amount of dedication.
As a band, when did you finally put it all together?
A week ago Thursday.
Good.
I really don't believe that visuals can sell records. You know, I mean, you can put a teapot on your head, and it may be interesting to look at, but it's not going to sell a record. At least it's not going to sell 19 of them, and it's not going to sell 40 million records. So I think we're a pretty darn good band. How do you like that? Darn.
Were you a good bar band at one time? Did you do a bar circuit?
I played once or twice in bars, and I wasn't really appreciated because I really didn't know the top 40. And the songs that I was playing were, when they would say to me, play Far, Far Away, I would start playing Far, Far Away, and they say, no, just get out of here.
Cleveland, yeah. Every musician has a turning point where they either see somebody on stage or they hear somebody play.
Right.
What was that moment for you?
Well, there were two or three, but really the ultimate concert I ever saw was Led Zeppelin. And I saw them between their first and second album. And that absolutely said to me, this is the pinnacle of what rock and roll and heavy metal is supposed to be. If there's anything that's been consistent with Kiss, is that we do what we want, and if it doesn't turn out, at least we've done what we want. It's real important that you be sincere in what you're doing. And if we were just going through the motions of wearing makeup because it was safe, then I'd rather stay home. I'm not into that kind of, you know.
Where was the first concert?
Well, we wanted to do it someplace that was a huge metropolis, so we did it in, it's like Paraguay or some oddball place. I can't even remember now.
Out of the way.
Yeah, it wasn't exactly...
it wasn't Bayonne?
No, it wasn't exactly Toronto.
Okay, fine. And were you prepared for rejection at that point? Had you sort of mentally...
I spent my life getting ready for rejection. You know, again, we were just so excited to go out there and do it that we weren't really concerned with it, you know.
It was a shift in overdrive is what it was.
Yeah, you know, we felt by taking off the makeup we had done what we wanted to do, which was give ourselves a little boot in the pants to do something different and get excited about what we do. I mean, when you've been doing something for 10 years, you don't want to be held back or stifled by what you've done before. If you had your hair parted on the left side 10 years ago, it doesn't mean that 10 years later you got to keep doing it because you did it before. You need that kind of freedom. Whether it succeeds or not, you can't, nobody always wins.
What's your attitude when you get into a studio, when you start planning for a video? Do you wing it or do you actually get down to it?
Well, it depends on what you're trying to accomplish. If you're trying to remake Raiders of the Lost Ark, you get, you know, all of a sudden there's 15 girls 6 feet tall with tin cans on their chests, you know, or you know, you're cutting your way through the jungle in search of the Holy Grail or something. I don't really think that that's what rock and roll is all about. You know, you can make that video once, but the trouble with those kind of videos is that any band could be in the video. You could switch basically you could switch the band and you would have the same video. Yeah. So there's really no identity. So what we try to do at this point is we try to go out there and be the fun-loving fools that we happen to be, and we either make it or break it being ourselves.
The lovable mop tops.
Whatever.
And with me are Gene Simmons and Paul Stanley. Thanks very much for coming in.
Hey, it's great to be here.
Now, you've been together as a band for, what, about 10 years now, isn't it?
Going on 11. It's almost 11 years now.
How did you meet? How did you get together?
We used to see each other on the street, and we were the only two people wearing white face and platform boots. Yeah. And we figured we should be in a band together. It was a good place to start. Actually, we met at somebody's house. We had both played with the same guitar player.
So you were friends, really, before the band started?
We met.
We met. I wouldn't say we were friends.
No.
And whereabouts are you from in America?
New York City.
And do you still live there now?
Everybody in the band. Oh, yes. 24.
Yeah, New York isn't the kind of place you leave. I mean, once you're from New York, you're always from New York. Yeah.
Now, listen, when people think of Kiss, as well as the music, they think of the stage presentation and the fact that you wear the colourful makeup.
Right.
But in fact, you've stopped wearing the makeup now, haven't
Right.
you? What's the reason for this?
Well, it's been 10 years, and we just felt that it was time to change something, and we didn't want to become prisoners to something that we had created. I mean, what Kiss is doesn't change. What we believe in doesn't change. What's inside of us has never changed. I mean, the music's the same, the show's the same. I think if anybody had the idea that what was going on as far as makeup was all that Kiss was about, they were kind of barking up the wrong tree.
Yeah,
sorry.
I was just going to add that makeup is something that we added as a dressing, as something special. 10 feet into the audience, you can't see the makeup at all. You can only see commitment. A boring performer wearing makeup is a boring performer. Right. The makeup on a convincing performer or a performer that cares about the audience is an exciting thing. But the makeup itself doesn't make or break a performer. It's the performer. It's what's inside.
So we can see you tonight at the Queen's Hall without the makeup. You've also just...
If you have a ticket.
If you have a ticket.
If you don't have a ticket, you missed it.
Can I just ask you this quickly? You've also been on an extensive European tour. Tell me about the Mexican pie fight, just quickly.
The infamous Mexican pie fight. Well, I don't know if Mexico's going to let us back in, but we were celebrating a birthday party, and we wound up buying all the cakes and pies that the restaurant had to offer, and
hitting each other
with them, and then the waiters all stood by and gave us more pies.
And it must have been a very expensive pie fight.
It was a $3,000 luncheon.
We wish you all the best with the concert tonight and with the tour. Thanks very much for coming in.
It means nothing. We're just a rock and roll band that likes to party and have a good time. Hot soup. And
hot chocolate.
Have a good time. Play rock and roll music. Get crazy.
Increase the population of every country we visit.
You've been accused of having bad taste, being lousy musicians and worshipping the devil, being Nazis, and God knows what.
We've been told everything.
It's true, isn't it?
Well, we don't have bad taste. We taste good. You know, we were having a good time. We're doing what we like, and if you don't like us, we don't like you.
Yeah, we don't concern ourselves with
And
people
if you
that
don't like what we do, then turn the channel. You don't have to watch us.
But the important thing is that everybody else likes what we do. All the fans, and that's all that I think concerns us.
Yeah.
Right. Hi, fans. Hi.
Actually, some parents here won't let their children see Kiss because
Well, that's
they're
okay, because our
afraid.
fans are too old anyway.
They're afraid that you might ruin them forever. So can you explain why it's not very dangerous to attend a Kiss concert?
Well, you got to figure that any parent that doesn't want their kid coming to the show
It's probably there themselves.
has probably been ruined by their parents anyway.
Oh, yes.
Climb out the window and come see the band. We're good for you. Your parents, crazy.
So, if we look back in history for a while, we find you, Paul, and Gene forming the band together 10 years ago. Could you tell me about the early days?
Gene?
1869, what?
In the beginning, there was darkness. And out of the darkness came the light.
Came lightning.
And out of the light came Kiss. Heat. And so it was on that day.
How long? It was 10 years ago. Oh. I'm sorry. This happens to me every once in a while.
Happens to everybody.
Yeah, it does that to you too?
Yeah, it does.
10 years ago, we decided to put together the kind of band that we never saw on stage. I read that in our bio kit. 1973 bio kit.
That's right.
And since then, we've been doing everything short of giving birth on stage to make sure that people get their money's worth.
And when Gene and I leave, it'll probably turn into the band that we never saw.
Never saw on stage.
I've always played guitar, played in a lot of heavy metal bands, and been doing it until I met these three knuckleheads, and I became the fourth knucklehead.
Right. I haven't asked anything about why you removed your makeup. Everybody knows that by now.
Good.
But now that you are unmasked,
Yes?
do you have a newborn feeling in the band?
Yes, we feel newborn. And we feel newborn, and we sleep like babies. We wake up every hour crying. We feel real good, obviously. I mean, we're going out there every night to crush skulls and have a good time. And everybody comes for a big party, and afterwards we go back and have soup.
And after the show, we do the encores back in the hotel.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
With maidens in distress.
Yes.
Blondes or
Pretty maids, mostly pretty maids.
Pretty maids, iron maids, all sorts.
Vinnie Vincent. Stevie Nicks. Paul Stanley.
Gene Simmons. Eric Carr. Okay, this group has sold over 50 million records, recorded 17 albums. So far, so good? So far, so good. Okay.
I like it.
15 gold, 11
like
platinum. We lose count after 10. Okay, and then history has been made with Kiss as far as music is concerned. Can we get into the previous band before Kiss to bring it up to date?
Sure.
So all people do is see what you're at now, where you're at. They think it's an overnight success. Let's go back to the days when you were paying some dues.
Well, Gene and I were in a band in 72, I guess 71, 72, and we wanted to do a big theatrical presentation, but most of the guys in the band, we kind of looked like we were at a bus stop waiting for the bus. There was tall guys and short guys and hairy guys and
Bald guys.
Bald guys. Nothing against bald people. We're all headed that way. But we just decided we want to put together something really spectacular. And I guess we had a record deal, and once we finished the album, we fired the band and went looking for new members. And we saw an ad in the paper that said drummer willing to do anything.
That was in Brooklyn, right?
That's right. And the drummer willing to do anything was Peter Criss. And we went to see him, and he was willing to do anything.
He was playing in the King's Lounge in Brooklyn. Well, you and I are from the same neighborhood, Gene. Williamsburg.
Yeah.
And
except you used to chase me. I used to run when I was little. Now it's my turn.
You're from?
I'm from Manhattan, all the way uptown, Inwood. Some people don't know about Inwood. It's like right before Riverdale, 211th Street, Broadway.
You know, some people would Inwood know about it.
Moving right along.
It's like Outwood, only backwards.
And the two new members.
I'm actually from Connecticut, born in Connecticut. Bridgeport, Connecticut.
Yeah, but Vinny's heart lies in Brooklyn. He can't be Italian and talk like this and not
My heart
lies.
lies.
And come from Connecticut. No.
Brooklyn, eh? I got one in Brooklyn.
Yeah, I'm a Brooklyn guy.
I was born in Brooklyn, raised in Brooklyn, East New York, which, as you may know, is a very tough neighborhood.
That's why I'm so tough. Backtrack a little bit. Where was the very, very first show that you put on?
First show we put on
in our living rooms when we were little kids for our parents and our uncles.
Right. I used to, go next door and lip sync, mimic records.
Professionally.
We did a show at a place in Queens called Coventry. It was on Queens Boulevard. We didn't want to get lumped in with all the New York bands, all the glitter bands, so we went looking for our own club. So our first show was for the bartender in a bar. Nobody else showed up.
With the makeup?
Yeah, Kiss has always looked just like, Kiss
from day one.
Together.
Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, there's tapes of us playing a club on Long Island, and we were doing all the songs that were on the first and second album. That's never really changed.
The very first reaction to where people started coming in droves, so to speak, to see what you were all about, what was that kind of reaction?
I remember getting up on stage in Long Island. This was in Amityville, I suppose a couple blocks from where that ghost house was. And people are drinking. I remember just putting our guitars down in one of the sections of the song and running out into the audience and making people put their drinks down and forcing them to clap their hands. Once, there was a pregnant girl in the front of the little club, and I sat on her lap, and she wasn't quite there. Apparently, she'd had... Anyway, it wasn't a nice thing to do. I think the baby's okay now, but there was a point there. And, you know, when we first walked in, the security guy there, the big guy, was going to knock us out. We were really scared. And we'd lock ourselves in the dressing room, putting on our makeup. And we'd be answering the phone. People would call up and say, well, who's playing there tonight? We'd say, oh, the best band you ever saw, Kiss. They wear makeup. They do all kinds of strange... You'll love them.
They hide from the bouncer. They hide from the band.
And the club owner had no idea what we were doing. We refused to do any Rolling Stones or cover songs or anything. And he complained the first weekend. Second weekend, it sold out. And
he really used to get pissed because a bar does its business on liquor. And we were so loud that they couldn't hear anybody ordering drinks. But what happened over a period of a week or two is we were doing such a big business at the door that they didn't care.
Interesting story about how you got the record companies to come and see you. The story along with the Brats. Tell our viewers about that. That's interesting.
We would rent our own concert hall. This was at the Diplomat Hotel, 43rd and 6th. Still there, I think. They haven't torn it down yet.
Home of reasonably...
Yes, still there.
Yeah, home of reasonably priced prostitutes.
And we put on our own concert. We rented the hall, took the ads out in the newspaper, and actually had little contracts with the opening acts. But we were the opening act. The Brats at that point were a more popular bass band. And we invited everybody to come, you know, the record industry to come and see us. And we'd say in the invitation, complimentary ticket, showtime, 9:30. And of course, you know, they'd come and see us, and by the time we were off, they'd leave. And the headline act, the Brats, would come on at 11 o'clock, and by that time...
Did they know that this was going on, meaning the Brats?
No.
Certainly not.
I think, probably what set us apart from a lot of the other bands is that we were kind of thinking along those kind of lines. It wasn't really enough to just get out and play.
No, we were serious about this. We wanted this to happen.
So you were going to pull out all the stops to
That's right.
do something. If we can, once Kiss has been successful, let's get into some negatives that I know you came across. How did you deal with them as far as the parents were concerned? Because I'm sure when they saw their children bring home an album and say, what is that?
We never... Well, I guess...
Did you have any confrontations with parents? Or?
No, I think we kind of took it as a compliment because we never really wanted to appeal to parents. I mean, the trouble with a lot of parents is they forget they were ever young. And we were never trying to be a critics band, and we were never trying to be the band that the parents approved of, because that's not what rock and roll is all about. Rock and roll is sex and freedom, and more sex, three things that a lot of adults fear, I guess.
That's, in the beginning, though, it is true that we would go out and open up for acts from all the way from Savoy Brown to Manfred Mann, acts that were sort of on their last legs anyway. And we'd catch a lot of flack from, Roberta would call up and say, we get flack, you get it? But it wouldn't matter because even before our record came out, we would tour with these acts, and we'd have our logo on the stage and amps bigger than the headline act, and even once we went off the stage, our logo would be hanging above, the stage. This was before anybody ever really started to do that sort of stuff. It wasn't considered in vogue to hang a sort of a Las Vegas sign above the band. It was a little too garish, but we didn't care about that stuff. We wanted to make an impression, and the logo would flash so bright that even when the other act was on, you'd still see Kiss in front of your eyes. We wanted them.
Yeah, where was your first big hall that you played?
What did I say? Garish?
That was Eileen. Don't you remember Eileen Garish?
I'm sorry.
Let's go back again. Where was the first big hall that you played when you had, if you have to label it, success?
Well, it depends on what you consider success. To us, in the beginning, success was being fourth on the bill playing the Palladium in New York, which is 3,800 seats. So to us, that was pretty big. We went from 1 week playing a club in Queens. 10 days later, we were playing there. And I was a chubette at that time, and I was wearing satin pants that broke.
You were a chubette?
Yeah. I had a fondness for things that tended to put weight on me, so I had these satin pants on, and I jumped up in the air, and they broke. And I had to hold the guitar in front of me all night to keep the pants from falling down.
There's almost nothing that was uneventful in anything we did. The very first show we did at the Academy of Music, New Year's Eve, 73, 74, was the very first time I tried to fire breathe in front of an audience, in front of a large audience anyway. And all I remember was that at one point the audience went nuts. And then somebody came up and put a towel, I think, over my head. I just thought it was a fan.
And a cane.
And a cane. And pulled me off. And I didn't realize it at the time, but the right side of my hair caught fire. And everybody thought, yeah, that's a great show. You're going to kill yourself for us, huh? Yeah, go ahead.
How much preparation goes into one of your concerts?
Usually. The H usually leads to the preparation.
Good. It takes a long time. I mean, while we were working on Creatures, the latest album, Creatures of the Night, we were also at the same time working on the stage design and putting a crew together. It took months and months. I mean, really every day. I'd say we were in the studio probably 14 or 20 hours a day, in addition to running to see that the stage looked right. We had a lot of work. It's funny you should ask me that question, Al. I feel like I've answered it just very recently. Well, it's a long story. They found me under a cabbage leaf, which is what Paul usually says. No, actually, the way this whole thing started was I was playing in a club, and a friend of mine that I hadn't seen in 3 or 4 months happened to stop in completely by accident. And at the end of the night, he says to me, he says, hey, you know, he says, Eric, why don't you get out of this band, you know? And I had already intended to get out of the band. Get out of this band and take a bus and get lost. Anyway, and, you know, I had already intended to leave the band, but at the time I had no other prospects musically, which was like the first time in 15 years that I didn't have another band to go to.
Sanitation guy, remember?
Well, yeah, I had, oh no, I was, should I say it? Yeah, I can say that. I was repairing gas ranges in the daytime. And, you know, I was doing that, so I'd have enough money to go to work
Play
the
that
next
back
day.
again, Al.
Okay.
You were doing
While
what
I
in the
was
daytime?
playing in the band right before Kiss.
You working for the gas company?
Not for the gas company, but I was repairing gas ranges during the days.
He's a gas.
Yeah, I'm a gas. So anytime you guys need your stoves fixed, call on me. Anyway, but, you know, he said, you should audition for Kiss, and at first I thought he was full of it. You know, I didn't believe it, but he said, no, Peter's leaving the band, and they're looking for a drummer.
And Peter's stove is broken.
Right, Peter's stove is broken. Look, the worst that can happen is that, you know, you don't make the band, but you can fix the stove. Space Bear. No,
How many people auditioned for that?
I'm sorry?
There were hundreds that came into the office. I mean, the cassettes, pictures, bio information, and out of that we settled on 30, and then we had callbacks. There were something like 7 or 10 callbacks out of the 30 that auditioned, and some of the guys, in fact, who auditioned later went on to be members of bands like Rainbow and other bands, and Eric was called back twice, I think.
I'm a little hard of hearing, and as I was walking out, they had to call me back twice. No, okay.
And he became a member as soon as he said, can I have your autograph, you guys?
He asked for our autograph, yeah. And we didn't quite tell him he was in the band, but what we did is we started rehearsing with him, and one day we said to him, in 2 weeks we're playing, and you better have your stuff together, you know, so 2 weeks later we did a show. We did our first show.
Shock at that point, I would assume.
Oh, yeah. Well,
right from there, we went on a massive European tour and outdoor shows.
What happens? Tell the viewers, what happens at an audition?
You'll
What
have
goes
your
on in an
chance.
audition?
No, this is the only story I know, you know. This is my big moment.
Well, Eric will tell you what goes on.
Well, what goes on in an audition? What do you have to do?
Me personally, or just?
Yeah, right.
Well, I was given a list of songs to learn in the event that I was going to be auditioned, you know, for the band, and there was 5 songs, and I went home and I practiced them, you know, for a few days, over and over and over again, until I had them backwards and forwards, and I think with the whole situation with Kiss, mentally, I was always here. I mean, I had wanted to be on this level. I never really, you know, expected that I would get into Kiss, you know, but I was hoping to get to this level. So when I went into audition, you know, I just said to myself, look, Eric, you're going to do the best you can. You know, you're going to play. You know you're good. You know the songs, and that's all you can do, you know.
Do you play with them, or are they just sitting watching you?
Oh, no, I auditioned with the band.
Well, both.
We played.
Both.
Yeah.
We then step off stage.
Yeah. I mean, they're always watching, you know, anyway. But we just played together as a band, you know.
And then we step off stage, and he does a solo by himself. We say, when we stop, you're on your own.
Yeah. Also, he had to sing. We said, learn these songs and be able to sing all of them. Also, learn the low harmony or learn the high harmony. It was really
it was really, it was tough. I mean, you had to come in and be a member of the band.
That's got to be a frightening experience the day of when you're going there. I mean, you've got to be nervous.
Yeah, I was very tense, to say the least, you know. I mean, this was like something I never expected to even be called for an audition. But, you know, when it happened, I just had a feeling deep down inside that I was going to get it. And I think that really, boy, did I get it. Okay.
He actually was very good about the audition and everything. We thought he handled himself well until we found a little puddle in the back of the drums.
We had one guy who tried out for the band who literally was hyperventilating. You know, he was behind the kid. He was behind the kid. Just give me a minute. Just give me a minute. I'm okay. And you got to figure, if this guy is like this now, and it's just the band, you really have to worry, because you got to figure that if the guy's really nervous now, what's going to happen when he's got to play for 20,000 people? So that's like a consideration. If the nervousness destroys your ability to play, it's only going to be worse when you play in front of a lot of people.